So what Donna suggested, just cut a piece of it and take it up
Yeah,
to
yeah, yeah.
somebody.
Yeah. Interesting. So are you thinking it's a tree that we like, or we don't like?
Good, how are
We
you?
don't.
Good
It's
morning,
just
good
full of
morning.
thorns and it
Melissa
just
snuck
spreads.
in.
I have
Good
one.
morning,
Hey,
everybody.
Melissa.
Good morning.
And I talked to an arborist with the Trail Conservancy. I thought it was a
All right.
nice piece, probably not.
Oh,
It's
uh-huh.
December 5th, and we'll call to order the Park Commission meeting. We'll start by calling a roll. I'm Chad Smith.
Nicole Marisi.
Lauren Mills.
Don Hudson.
Mary Elizabeth Cofer.
Melissa Mora.
Victoria Johnson.
Awesome. Which should be a short meeting today. Public comments. I don't think we have anybody here, but any citizens wishing to address the Park Commission for items not on the agenda received at this time. Limit comments to 3 minutes. Anybody wishing to speak? If not, we'll move to agenda item number 2, discussion and possible action on the minutes from the November 7th, 2022 Park Commission meeting.
I have one question about them.
Yeah.
I thought we talked a little bit about your idea of clearing, but there was nothing in the minutes about it.
We talked a lot about cleaning.
Yeah.
Actually, we did.
So, I know, I mean, technically minutes don't have to, because I read the minutes, but there's nothing mentioned in there.
In
Well, it
the-
says
the-
move
the-
to-
This lower part by the pool.
Mhm. So, and I know sometimes, oh, okay.
It's number
Maybe
7,
I
right?
must have, okay, I'm sorry. I
Number
must have
7.
missed that.
Yeah, we talked a lot about that. I thought it was.
No, I
It's
knew
number
we
7.
did. I just didn't, well, I thought I opened the minutes, but I didn't have it in there. But,
So-
okay, there they are in there. Great,
All good?
yep.
All right.
I opened last month's.
I'd make a
minutes.
motion to approve the minutes from the November 7th, 2022 meeting.
I'll second that.
Second the motion. Anybody opposed? Say nay. Everybody in favor say aye.
Aye.
Approved. All right, number 3, update from the Park Amenities Subcommittee.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyone?
Oh, great.
Was I on that? I don't think I'm on that committee.
If you don't know, we're in trouble.
I must not be on it.
What?
I thought Mary Elizabeth was on it.
We are actually in a holding pattern. We're waiting on Brian Ryder to follow through. He's talking to, well, I should let you speak. You're actually more on top of this.
Brian Ryder and Frankie.
Steve Frankie.
Steve Frankie
Mm-hmm.
are supposed to kind of double back together to talk about. Steve was going to get a schedule for spring softball and baseball.
Okay.
And then we were gonna move forward with scheduling, coffee and that kind of thing, starting with the games, and then move from there, just to see the interest in the community at that point.
Okay.
And
So
try to,
were they gonna try it once and see if there was interest? Do you
I
recall?
think to try, well, we discussed trying to have it at every game, just to kind of get people's attention to the fact that it's there. And then see what kind of reception we have and what other opportunities there might be. And then
Would
kind
it,
of go
would
from there.
baseball run that, or would we run that, or who would actually?
The
Who would
context I understood was that we would kind of start with is bringing vendors up, maybe Panera or somebody like that to come
Okay.
and be there.
Somebody, one of the
Right.
local, okay.
Yeah, to also bring in, people from the community that are already running things.
Okay. No action items there then. Sounds like we're waiting on some other people. Okay. Number 4, update of City Council action on Park Commission items. Does anybody want to take this, or do you want me to take a stab at it?
I think that's Amber, isn't it? I mean, Ashley, do you update us on the city council?
I was just going to let y'all know about the status of them from the last meeting. Pretty much everything is going to be brought up again next month, so they didn't, it was about midnight, I
Midnight.
think, by the time any park commission items came up, so those will be back on the agenda. I believe we had the turf, board and commission appointments, reviewing how those are made, and then the park expansion, which we'll also talk about next. So
Mhm.
all coming back next month. See you in December.
Real quick on that. If it's a simple, well, less complicated conversation, is there a way to add those into the agenda earlier in the discussion items, or how do you set those? Because again, it was 11:15 p.m. and my ninth grader had a paper due at 12 a.m. and I had to leave because he needed my help so again, is there any way that we could possibly potentially put in there like, hey, this could discuss up to 20 minutes or an hour and 20 minutes, or is there any conversation that we could do to help so that we don't have 3 months of continuing tabling the items? Because then that puts us at a standstill from being able to move forward with anything. So I don't know how city kind of determines the placement of the agenda items.
Right. I will say we generally try to put things that will have either our contractors or people in the audience there for. And so I think last time the turf probably was the first one that kind of took a solid amount of the time. We don't always know what's going to be a long hot button topic sometimes until they're on the agenda. So we do try to move things up as people get there. But I think, now that this one's been on a couple times, it'll be closer to the beginning of the agenda. It's just hard to tell. Sometimes we have engineers or attorneys that we're paying to be there that we try to run through those items first. So.
Sure.
But we try to just group them kind of by as things make sense, like put all the park items together and all the different kinds of items. So
Okay.
we'll get those up there earlier and hopefully get
Well,
to it before.
so because that contractor, they were going for a variance on one of the streets, they needed to be there because that was a paid contractor who was coming in, and your engineer was in there as
Right.
well. And so those are why those get placed first, and then after that conversation, then everything else kind of falls into place.
Right.
Okay,
Exactly.
that makes sense.
Sure. But we'll try to get those earlier. I don't know what we're going to have on the December agenda quite yet, but I don't think we have as robust of a agenda. So.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much.
Also, real quick on that, is there a way to get a copy of the notes? And I know we can go back through the minutes, but did y'all have a simplified way of, specifically Brooke Brown's questions with regard to the turf? Is there a way that we could get her to submit to us those questions? Because that seemed to be a part of the delay in trying to move forward with that, is that there were still unanswered questions from her. So is there a way that we could get her to submit those to us and then possibly look to get those answers so for the January meeting they'd have more concrete information and not speculation?
Absolutely. We can ask if she'll want to provide any of those. We'll also, as we do the minutes, we try to pull out the question items so we can take a close look at that and when we get those. But we'll do both. We'll ask if she'd like to submit.
I think it would just
Something.
streamline everybody if she already has her list, because she had her notepad with her, and I was trying to take notes on it as well and responding back and forth so I could have a mental picture of what we need to address. But again, that way I think it'll help us be able to communicate specifically to what the concerns are of council members and to be able to provide the information that they're looking to get answers to.
Sure. We're happy to ask for that, and then we're also happy to put the list together that we heard while we were here, and so we can combine those. But we'll do that and share that with Chad and Nicole.
Sure,
Or maybe the whole commission. We might be able to send it out, just not as a discussion.
that'd be great.
Either way, I think we're going to take a stab at addressing as many of those concerns as we can, and just seeing if we can flesh out anything before the next meeting,
Sure.
when new stuff will come up.
Yep.
Well, that's why I wouldn't limit it to just Brown. I would say, send it to all the council
Oh, we're
members.
going to.
Okay, okay, good, great.
And just say, hey, please let us know
Yeah.
of any.
She seemed to have the majority of the
Yeah.
questions from that last meeting, and so but to your point, yes, please.
She was voicing the same concerns that some of the others
Some of the
had,
others.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
So,
And so I
I just want to get out in front of it.
I
and
love that. I
answer
love
it.
that. Being able to have the ability to respond to what they're proactive versus
Yeah.
just waiting, no answers, and then we're just months and months and months delayed because of the breakdown in the process and communication.
Yep.
It'd be awesome.
For sure.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks.
All right, agenda item number 5, update on the park expansion to the north of the swim facility. I was a little bit late because I ran over to Breed's Hardware and got some lime tape.
Oh, great, good.
And gonna go hit the trees after this and see if we can get somewhere. I got the impression that maybe the $1,500 clearing didn't rise to the level of needing city council attention. So I was gonna propose that maybe we, assuming that Melissa and Mary Elizabeth and I can agree on the trees that are gonna stay, and then maybe we make a motion that pass that if if we come to an agreement on those trees, that we can throw it in front of Gavin and Ashley and myself to coordinate the clearing. And maybe not need it to go through city council, if Gavin and Ashley agree.
I think you're moving a little fast on this. So, first of all, as far as the trees, I went down there and took a look, and I want an arborist to take a look. I don't, unless you can show me that you have got a background in this, I don't think that we have the qualifications to decide which trees can safely be removed that won't adversely affect the drainage, and which ones are actually considered trash trees. So I'm not comfortable putting my stamp on, let's remove this one or let's keep this one. I think it's a very slippery slope there. Also, you know, I used to be on the Board of Adjustments, and we always talked about setbacks. So I got to wondering what kind of setbacks are necessary in that. I'm thinking of that neighborhood beyond there. And I found out that there's a 30-foot greenbelt zone. So before we remove any trees, I think we also need to look at where are the property lines there. And so where is that 30-foot greenbelt zone? So I think we need to take a step back before we remove any trees and go down there and walk that off.
Do we have anything from the city as far as a plat of survey in that specific area of?
Surely that's been looked at.
I would think so. As far as,
We can, I think we were supposed to give that to you guys last time, I'm sorry. We'll
That's
pull back
okay.
the
So
survey and the topo
I think if
survey.
we can get that and go down there and walk that off, I think we need to back up and do that first. And then we need to look at that 30-foot buffer. Then we need to look at the trees.
and
Well,
how do you,
Drainage is a big issue all over, so, you know,
Exactly.
of course you want that looked at. But I assumed that when we got that topo and the survey and all of that, that was part of that discussion. I didn't realize
Of
none
the-
of that had been done.
Of the
There is-
park plan that was done?
I'm talking about just what is currently down there and what, you know, looking at that and saying, is this feasible?
Is that, is some of that part of the master plan?
I don't know.
Okay,
I'm just talking about the survey in general of what the city has on record of
gotcha.
what is our property versus what is the neighbor's property versus what does that topo look like and the trees that
That is
are
a
there.
wash through there.
There should be a tree survey there, cause that was part of the master park plan.
Yeah.
There is a drainage, I wouldn't call it a study, it's more of a report, because it doesn't give any technical information about drainage at the park, but I am also concerned about the drainage. I've been, you know, kind of looking at some studies that were done to address the drainage that goes into Hatley Creek. And I really feel like whatever's done in the park needs to have that in mind, because everything at the park does go into Hatley Creek. So I think it would be great, I mean, I don't know where the money would come from, but if we could get an official drainage study done by engineers for the park so that we know how we can do things in the park and also address the drainage at the time that those things are done.
So we've talked about drainage at the park for years and talked about, how do we move forward as a park with what is going on in the rest of the city with drainage?
Exactly.
And it's been this catch-22 of, we're not ready to address drainage in the city as a whole. We don't have all of our information. We don't have all of our monies. We're trying to do all this. So until we have an idea of that, we can't do this. So we've been going back and forth on the drainage thing for a while, but I think we're waiting, and Ashley, correct me if I'm wrong, but we're waiting for like the city as the whole to have a drainage plan, and you know, we're gonna have to change our infrastructure, and we have the bonds and all of that, but I think all of that ties into the park plan. So the park, for the several years that I've been on it, has said we can't do anything until the city decides what they're doing about drainage. But we also don't wanna add to the park or do things because we don't have the money to maintain it, and we're not maintaining what we have right now to the ability that we should. And so this area north of the swim facility, I don't know if it's possible, Ashley, if we have somebody look at that separately and I'm not sure if whatever else we do at the ball fields or wherever would impact that little spot or not. I'm thinking that's probably a one-off, but I would be most concerned about those houses behind there.
Those houses, but all of that flows into Eames Creek.
Yes.
As does this behind here. So in my mind, because they are addressing Eames Creek, or there's a plan to, this should be looked at because if we can prevent more water from going down there by improving what's here, then I think that's in
The
the
goal.
city's best interest. Yeah, because anything we do here that increases what goes into Eames Creek kind of defeats the purpose of what they're
So
doing.
is that
So
money we could get from RCDC? Is that, I mean, I'm
think
struggling
it's-
with what RCDC pays for these days because it's so
Improvements
different
versus
from.
maintenance is all I've been able to
I-
understand.
But that seems like good money that RCDC could
I
spend
think-
to help
agree.
us.
So
Yeah.
specifically, what would we ask for? Can you think of that?
Well, wouldn't it be a drainage study on the area you want to clear? I mean, I don't think we can do one for the whole park because
maybe-
I think it's impacted by much more than that. But
I think
yeah.
that,
So real quick though, was a drainage study done by the Western Hills, swim? or-
The WAC.
For
For the-
the tennis courts that they just did?
well, I'm
Because-
sure,
Cause, I mean, if
but I
that's,
don't know for certain.
yeah, that's that area, so
Yeah.
I bet a study just got done, is that not right?
If they
Actually-
would share it, wouldn't that be theirs?
They would have done,
Well-
right, they would have done it, had a drainage, like a plan provided. I don't know what they would have to do on their side to provide a plan that works with our, but it would have to just it would be on their lot specifically, it wouldn't necessarily.
It wouldn't include that piece because it's not theirs.
But did
Right.
they have to do a drainage study for their,
I'm sure for
I
the
mean,
tennis
they
courts.
did on the front end to provide their drainage plans.
well,
that
it,
are
I mean, it's,
ultimately
I
approved.
understand that it's
Yeah.
only the water that's coming from their property, but I think that's a
Right.
significant,
It's significant because
you
it
know.
would go right into.
Anyway, at least we could start with whoever did that drainage study and just say,
Right.
hey, how much would it cost us to find out the drainage of that area? Like, and then we'll know, we can or we can't move stuff off of it.
and I
Or how
think,
to do it in a way that it helps the drainage.
Yeah, so
I
it
mean, that
slows
possible
water
too.
down, that's
Exactly.
basically what we wanna do.
Yeah.
so what she's saying, maybe we can do this in a good way, so that whatever we do,
Yeah.
we don't make it worse.
Yeah, my
Ashley
only
just said
intent
she'd
here,
look into it.
my only intent here was to spend $1,500 and beautify that area and clear it up a little bit so that people could use it, because they're not using it now.
No,
But
and I
if we have to
respect
get an
that.
arborist involved and a drainage study done and all this stuff just to take a little dozer out there and move around some stuff, it's not gonna,
It, look,
Probably.
it's not that simple.
Well, how about if the three of us go walk down there, if we have enough time right after this meeting, and just see what he's talking about, to say whether it's simple or not, cause some of it is dead trash.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, there are a lot, I mean, I don't know if you saw, but someone's been working on a big old fort down
That would be
there.
my daughter.
It's been down there a while.
And so it may be that, I mean, we're thinking arborist, but like, I'm looking right here, like, if you were to come in here and clear out, I think it would be pretty clear which things are trash and which aren't. I'm not saying, this is not a big project, so at least let's just go look at it together, and if you still feel that way, I think that's fine, we can wait and make a motion at the next meeting. But I do think it'd be helpful for us to go walk down there and see what are we talking about, cause then we'll know, are we on the same page or are we not?
I unfortunately can't right after this
Oh,
meeting.
okay,
I have to
yeah,
be, I'm supposed to be in Dripping Springs.
No, but if.
On page 95 of the master park plan, it shows that that area, if I'm
If we
identifying
finish
it
really
correctly,
early, yeah.
is supposed to be where the off-leash area could be, as well as nature trails, according to
I'm-
page
sorry, back up.
95. According to page 95 of the master park plan, the area that I think we're discussing right now is identified as area number 5 and number 6, which is nature trails as well as off-leash areas. So to somebody's point, could some study have already been done if this was considered in the master park plan? There's a possibility because it's identified that that's where
Maybe ask Wendy Hundley. She's master
park plan person.
guru.
So we may have some of this information already.
There's not a lot of engineering that I've found in the park plan, but there might be a deeper look.
But I think what Chad was saying is, my intent was to do this on the
Yeah.
low key.
Yeah. Right.
I think we can improve the park without spending a bunch of money. And then once we start getting arborists and drainage studies and everything, then
Correct.
this is a whole nother beast. And then that's money we could have used to maintain the park we have.
Yep.
But I
So
don't
now
think
we're in
you-
this catch-22.
Yeah, but I don't think you can do anything small with a bulldozer. It's not like you're going in and
Well,
chopping
I
down a
agree.
dead tree.
I'm not saying we shouldn't do that, but I'm saying now the intent and the amount of money that we're spending on this is different. So before we go hiring all those things, let's get a cost estimate of what it would cost
Right.
for us all to feel comfortable to do this.
I agree. I like that idea. Yes, I agree.
And for the record, I think I was saying Eames Creek, I meant Hatley.
Hatley Creek.
Mhm.
You said both, but we
I
knew what
probably
you meant.
You
Yeah.
started with Hatley.
Oh, I got off to a good start.
You did start right.
Oh, well.
Hey, is this bulldozer guy gonna pull trees out, pull stumps out?
He'll do whatever we ask.
Okay, so he has the means to
Yeah,
do that.
and he can mulch it all.
Okay.
So he's just gonna clean it up and mulch everything and be done with it. So,
Yeah, it might be that what you're talking about really doesn't change the drainage.
I don't think it
But
will.
if you pull trees up by the roots, you loosen the dirt. So that's somewhat of a concern, but,
My intent is to leave enough trees in there to where everything's still shaded.
oh, yeah.
And So you're just helping the beautiful
This-
oaks down there and everything else.
Yeah, that's what makes that a nice area, is the shade.
So, does anybody else have anything they wanna talk about on the expansion?
So
Well, yeah, I do.
are we leaving it that, we need to tie down which trees to take and which to leave,
Mm-hmm.
and impacts on, water flow through there, and make sure we have enough of a buffer, the buffer that's required between what we do down there and the neighbors back behind.
Mhm.
So,
Ashley's pulling together what she has regarding surveys, topo, tree survey, and following up with, I think what you said, you were willing to go to WAC and see what they had. Am I
Yeah,
speaking for you?
We can look and see what we have in the files as far as going to them. I mean, they might have had to do some on their end before they submitted to us, so we may not have everything, but we do have a tree and topo survey. And I'm sure we have more from the preparation of the master plan.
Whatever you have, if you could send that out,
sure.
that would be great. And then,
Yeah.
We'll do that.
I don't know if y'all's small group wants to then take it from there on what next steps are to come back with a cost estimate of, well, what do we think needs to be done and what would that cost?
I have one more concern. When we were initially talking about working in a space up here, we were looking at benches, you know, just a place for people to go and hang out and read, relax. A big concern was how to make that ADA compliant.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that would take lots more money to do that, because you need a stairway or a ramp or a switchback.
Yeah.
How are we gonna make this is even steeper. How are we gonna make this area ADA
By the
compliant?
pool.
No, I'm
Then
talking
why not-
about this area that we've been discussing, this part.
We're not talking about making.
Yeah,
it
we're not
ADA.
talking
We're
about
not
making
gonna,
it
that was
ADA
not, we had
compliant.
already said that can't happen.
That's
Yeah.
beyond the scope.
Yeah.
It's
All we're doing
possible,
is
but
clearing it
that's
out and beautifying it for right
tens of
now,
thousands.
is what's in front of us.
And you're still saying that this is not part of your plan to move the dog park?
Correct.
Okay. All right, so then from here, what we're gonna do is look at the things that he listed, the impact on the drainage, the border survey,
Yep.
the trees, okay.
Can I ask a quick question? So, you talked about a 30-foot setback or a green belt?
Yes.
What is the definition of a green belt? I mean, you must be able to clear it out or get rid of invasive species, or, I mean, there must be, is there a definition
I'm
of
pretty
what?
sure you can.
Yeah.
I'm
okay.
pretty sure you can.
Okay, great.
I
I
don't
just
think
wanted to
that- I don't
clarify
think
that
that
the
would-
30 feet doesn't mean, because if you got 30 feet from every side, then we're not talking about clearing anything.
And do we know it's 30 feet for sure?
I have no idea.
Yes.
Okay, you have
Yeah.
that information
Uh-huh.
from somewhere?
From, yeah, that's in the,
Right, between a park and a residential lot, there's a requirement of
Okay.
30.
but you know, I think that it's pretty safe, I think we could go in there and remove invasive species.
Yeah, I think as long as we stayed on this side of the creek,
Yeah.
the wash,
So
that
let's
we're
just-
not getting into that buffer zone.
Yeah, oh, great.
But even then, I think you probably could go in and pull invasive trees. And,
Yeah, even on the other
but
side
you
of
do
the
want to
creek
leave
if we
a
wanted
visual
to.
barrier
Yeah.
as much as possible. So.
Yeah, I wanna leave a barrier.
And is there a city
Mm-hmm.
arborist?
We do have someone currently reviewing our tree plans. We don't have somebody who comes out regularly.
We
Like,
really
who-
need
Who
someone.
does review this?
The
Is it a
company's
company, like
called, yeah,
Bartlett
it's
or
a, it's a
Wright or-
company. It's, Mundo and Associates.
What-
They just
what are they
review our
again?
plans. I'm sorry?
How's that spelled?
Mundo, it's Mundo. They currently review, that's basically just when someone submits a tree plan for their property. is
I
when
just
they
found a
review.
tree survey. Let me see. Oh, never mind. Doesn't work. Nothing.
And I have the tree and topo here, I'll share that with you guys. But we're also looking for someone to get, we've had an arborist come out for a couple trees in the park, so we're looking to kind of formalize that relationship so we can call them our arborist.
So we don't use Scott Ogden anymore? No, he's done some work here.
Not since I've been here, I don't remember
He
us
did the
using
work
him
down in front
in
here.
the garden. Yeah, the name sounds familiar, but we haven't used them since I've been here, so.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
All right, anybody else got anything they wanna talk about on the expansion? Okay, then I'll redo my request, that so long as our subcommittee of Melissa and Mary Elizabeth and myself can come to an agreement on the trees and the buffer zone and the drainage, and make a recommendation to Gavin and Ashley that the Park Commission otherwise approves of moving forward on this front.
Can we actually spend money as a park commission? Seems like a silly question, but can we actually do that?
Assuming we
I have
can
no
get the
idea.
money part taken care of. Whether that comes out of the budget, or whether that comes out of the RCDC, or whether it comes out of citizens' pockets.
But doesn't that all have to go through city council? I thought all spending went through
We
city
have
council.
an
We have
operating
a
budget.
budget.
We have a
Yeah.
budget.
This
Okay.
We
is
used
an
to look at
we are an
numbers. We don't have to
advice,
look at them anymore.
I'm sorry, we are an advisory board, though. I don't see that we can do this without getting approval by the city council. It's because of the issues that we're looking at, I don't feel like we should go forward. I think we should do our due diligence here, do all the things we're saying, but I want city council to say, go forward. So I don't think we can all just say, okay, this looks good, let's bring in the bulldozer. I would like city council's approval.
I understand that. What I'm asking is if we can make a recommendation to Gavin and Ashley to move forward as a park commission.
Oh, and you mean to take it to city council?
No, I mean to take it to Gavin and Ashley and just have them approve of what we're asking.
I think it just depends on to what level it rose. If it was something that's kind of like a more of a maintenance than a real project, I think that's possible. We just have to understand what the scope of the project was, so.
And so you're assuming that you and Melissa and I are gonna be able to determine the drainage issues?
If we go look at studies and we get comfortable with it, great. If we don't, then no. But I haven't even looked at the drainage studies. I just think it's a great idea to bring this in and clear some
I
property
know,
and
you just wanna come in,
Make it-
$1,500
make it better.
bulldozer,
yeah.
yeah.
But as long as we can get comfortable with the drainage studies, with the buffer zones, with the arborist, with the
Alright.
trees to be taken out.
I'm comfortable looking at this.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we have a motion.
We don't need any
We
motions.
don't, we
do
already have it, we've already passed.
Okay. All right, we're good then?
We're just gonna now talk about rescheduling the meeting.
All right. Agenda item number 6, discussion and possible action to reschedule January 2nd Park Commission meeting.
Yes.
Is this you?
No. I agree with it.
It's still a holiday.
That's just us, it's a city holiday, and actually, now that I'm looking at it, so we would have had to push, to the 9th, but that is now, RCDC took that slot. The following Monday is the 16th, but that is MLK Day, so the
Let's
month
just
of.
skip January.
I'd make a motion we skip January, move right into February.
Or we could push it to like the 4th or the 5th of January.
I think we should get, I make a motion that we skip January.
I'll second it.
Discussion. So if we get, a bunch of questions about the turf, do we wanna talk about it in January before they go to their January meeting?
Possibly.
January council meeting would be
The third Wednesday.
the 18th of January. So if y'all wanna throw out any other dates, we could look at those, or we could send around for availability. Or I know there's a motion to.
So can we do it the 3rd of January?
I can't do the third.
How about the 4th?
I can do the fourth.
I don't have, I didn't bring the right calendar, darn it.
Did you say city council was the 18th of January?
Yes.
Is the problem with the ninth the time or the day?
It is just that RCDC meets at noon on Mondays, on the second Monday of the month.
Can we go at 11 a.m. or is that too stressful on?
They have a 12, you might wanna give yourself a little more time probably to meet, but I think we can make it we don't like to normally schedule them doubled up like that, but I think we can handle it.
So you wanna go 10:30?
10:30 to 11:30?
And
what day?
with
On the
chances
9th.
are
On the
that we
9th.
can make it super short and go 10:30 to 11?
And cancel it if council isn't
Yeah.
considering it or they don't have any questions.
Yeah, completely agree. All right,
Wait,
Okay,
is
so
that-
that would be
wait, that's
that
on the
10:30?
11th,
9th.
that's the ninth.
Ninth,
9th?
at 10:30.
10:30.
Works for me.
Works for me too.
If y'all are good with that, I'm not sure we need a motion necessarily, we can just make that adjustment.
So the 9th at 10:30 is what you're saying?
Monday,
Yep.
January 9th at 10:30.
And that's if we have the questions.
That's if we have
Yeah.
something to meet about.
Okay.
Yeah,
So if no agenda items show up, the meeting will be canceled.
correct.
We're not still talking about this drainage area.
Ashley, at what point would you be able to get questions to, it would need to be 3 days
I know,
ahead,
you're planning to
right?
be out of town on the 9th.
When can you go
Right,
to town?
so we will need to
planning
post
to.
the
Say something.
agenda by Friday, the Friday before that.
Okay.
I'm actually planning to be out of town on the 9th.
Would you be able to send questions before that, or?
I'm sure if we got them, and if, so I'm reaching out to council, or
Okay.
I don't know if somebody else
Um,
in the commission was gonna email.
Do you have another day that works better?
Well, we don't.
I
I'd
do the
prefer
10th.
you to reach out to council.
So she's thinking
10th
about moving
works
it
for
to the
you.
10th.
I could do the 10th.
How's the schedule look on the 10th, Ashley?
Ugh, I can't do the 10th, I know.
Oh.
How about the 11th?
Yep.
Nope.
Hold on.
11th at 10:30?
Everybody?
If we do 10:30, I can do it.
Okay.
The 11th at 10:30?
I'm good.
Okay.
All right. I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
A second.
Wait. How many of us can go walk down there?
3.
Okay, so if we stayed in meeting, we can all walk down there. But that's okay.
If y'all want to see it, that's fine with me.
Does anybody else care?
I trust y'all, but I'm happy to be a fourth set of eyes.
You wanna come?
Sure, I've been down there a lot.
We've walked it a couple times. Don.
I'll walk down
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. Okay, so can we stay in the meeting and walk over there, or are you allowed to, oh, cause we're not on here.
I'm not sure how we're gonna get it, to
Nope.
make that accessible to the public. I mean, we could probably like follow you guys and take minutes. That's ridiculous. Video? I don't know.
Let's just go the three of
Okay,
us.
that's
Let's
fine.
just go the
Just
three
the
of
three
us.
of us.
All right.
Sorry, I'll research
that's
that
good.
for next.
Motion to adjourn passes.
Okay.
We're adjourned.
Follow you with a camera.
That too, I mean.
Yeah, but now I just want to be followed with a camera to see what that feels like.
So we put for Wednesday at 10:30?
Wednesday.